What up, it's your boy Dvrth back at it again for another video. Today we're here with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Stone Ocean episode 30. Last episode, we defeated, what's his name, Versus. Defeated Versus, cornered Poochie. Things were looking pretty good for us. But then Versus through Weather Report's memory disk to Weather Report from out of the hole that he dug, gave it back to Weather Report. Weather Report started to awaken his memories, which started to awaken the true power of his actual stand ability, which is crazy because as I've said before, Weather Report is probably the strongest stand that we have seen outside of like the reality breaking ones. So the fact that his stand has an extra gear to it is insane to me. So we're gonna hop straight into it because I need to see what the hell is happening with Weather Report here, and hopefully get some Weather Report backstory, because I need to know what exactly was going on with the Poochie brothers, to where they had, like, at least Father Poochie had to do all this shit. So we're gonna hop straight into it. If you haven't already, subscribe, like, comment, all the other stuff. You're just a lurker, I appreciate you too. If you have any requests, whether it be more JoJo's Bizarre Adventure or something totally different, the best place to that in, as always, my social media links going to be in the description below. And if you want these episodes early or the full length reaction to these episodes, you can subscribe to my Patreon. Links going to be in the description below for that as well. So with all that being said, let's get our headphones, make sure they're on, them bitches is on, and let's just get into it. Bro, what is that sound? I don't think I noticed that in the last episode, but that sound that it's making. What the fuck? Oh. Oh. What the fuck? Whoa! Oh, Weather Report's a demon for real. Oh my god. What the fuck? Is Weather Report his real name? Nah, Weather Report can't be his real name, especially if like, even Father Poochie has like a pretty normal name. His first name's Enrico, right? So what the what the fuck is what the fuck? Weather Report like just completely shirked his old name or something like that, because you'd assume that if he got his memories back, he would start to go by his old name or his like original name. Instead, he was just like, yeah, bro, I'm weather forecast now. Oh, what does it do? What does it do? Why? Don't look at the rainbows. Don't look at the rainbows. Nobody look at them. Don't touch them either. The forecast stand ability controls the weather. No, I don't. Sorry. So why the fuck did you do this? Subconscious? Oh my god, it's a passive ability. Manifest, he doesn't. What kind of fucking power is this? Bro. Oh, okay. Ain't that some shit? Don't do this. Oh shit, the rainbows. What the? Snails? What the fuck? Why? Why? What the fuck? Why? I, I, right. He's made it rain. What? He's turning into a snail, bro. What the fuck? Holy shit. Holy shit. Oh, god damn it. Oh my god, bro. Ain't no way. Really? Well, weather report's ending the world right now, so... Oh, fuck. They're both ending... Well, oh my god. It's such a crazy dichotomy. Oh, shit. Okay. So we need to find his memory and then use that to stop the end of the world, basically. What? Is he trying to get weather report's power? Or what was he trying to get? I'm lost. The snails threw me the fuck off. Oh. Oh. Fuck. The sound on those. Ooh. How the fuck? Bitch got lower body strength like a muff. God damn. They have sex with him. I'm a bit jealous. Holy shit, good job. Nice. Good job. Get the fuck out of here. Get the... Oh my god. That's so fucking cool. Fuck. Oxygen form. Okay. Oxygen is made up of O2, third oxygen. Okay. Science lesson that I got millions of times before in school. Compromise in any way, it would be very bad for Earth, is what would happen. We cannot predict a regular. We can only pass decades. What? What the fuck is going on? Oh my god! Yeah, hurry the fuck up. Bro, what? I don't understand. What? What? Did he find it? Oh my god, he beat his shit in. Oh. Fuck. Oh. Son of a bitch. Fuck. God, I was afraid that he'd find that, like, that specific memory. Oh, what happened to the disc? Oh shit, did he drop it? Oh shit, he dropped it. I think he dropped it. Oh my god, no. What the fuck is going on? Big dog. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh shit. Yo, you can't even touch them. Bro. Oh no, it's all slimy. Oh no, bro, this is ass. What? Nigga, is that the Miami Dolphins? Man said I got Dan Marino to do you up this time. What the fuck? You are truly Dio, son. Holy fuck, that's funny. Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I completely forgot that his stand ability basically lets him stash shit. Wait, what? What going on? Oh! Oh, fuck. Well, where did use the car? Was it salt? Yeah, it's salt. Oh no! Oh no! Are the snails even real for real, or is this whole thing real, or is this an illusion? Oh yeah, you were definitely celebrating too much to be a winner. What the fuck was that, run? Oh, and yeah, and he touched. Oh my. Oh, and he used kiss. Grip, nigga. I've never stolen a car. Snail? What? Yeah, why are they just shells? What? Oh shit, since they're snails, they have natural enemies. Oh my god. That's terrifying. Bro, this has got to be the craziest shit ever. Bro, your stand is turning people into snails, causing them to be eaten by beetles. That's how you're making the world end. He's pulling up. He's pulling up on you, nigga. What? 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 What is going? No, okay, hang on. Let's step back for a second and think about this. What? Nigga, snails and Dan Marino? That's what we got in this episode. Snails and Dan Marino. What? I don't know. I don't have an answer for any of this. I don't have an answer for any of this. Don't expect me to have an answer for any of this. Don't expect me to have some crazy in-depth breakdown of what the fuck is going on, because I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't know what's going on. Like, I was expecting some other shit for weather forecasts. Gonna be weird calling them that. I expected something totally different for weather forecasts power, like a new ability or fully realized ability, turning people into snails is not one of them. That is so far from what I thought that his ability was going to do. Turning people into snails. Why? 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 What? Okay. Like let's just dial it back a little bit. Let's step back and let's actually look at the episode, right? So first of all, I do need to go back to whatever Poochie was saying about to stop the rainbows, you must kill. Okay, no. What was he saying? His ability. Oh, you bitch! God damn it. Okay. Weather is a complex phenomenon. His ability manifests in ways he doesn't realize. His memory should have never been returned to him. Blah blah blah. Kill. Okay. I feel like he said some others. Did he not say more than that? Rainbow. Wait. Okay. The rainbows come out of his subconscious. Okay. Weather report is automatic attack. Okay. Weather report. Okay. Okay. So. Okay. What am I supposed to say about this? Like genuinely think about it real quick. What am I supposed to say about this? We had Dan Marino and snails. The world is about to end by the hands of Dan Marino and snails. What? I don't get it. Okay, so let's start with this, right? Weather reports stand ability. So with this new realized weather forecast, whatever you call it, right? With this new fully realized ability, it does have the exact feeling of as I talked about in the last discussion. What was it called? Requiem something. Fucking chariot, silver chariot requiem. Holy fuck, I can't say that word. Requiem. It reminds me of silver chariot requiem. Where shit was happening at a very large scale, and it seems like for this specifically it is a global scale, where people are turning into snails, and snails are coming out of like the orifices of buildings and shit like that. Whatever, right? So that's the power, is that it turns people into snails. But for me personally, I think it goes a little bit deeper than that, or at least I would hope that it's something more than just, oh, it turns people into snails, which it totally could be. It's JoJo. You could have some random shit like that, but I'm going to assume that this has not like a deeper meaning to it, but I'm going to assume that this has a little bit more to it than just, oh, if you touch a rainbow, it turns you into a snail. The episode talked a fair bit about how weather in general is a phenomenon in which we don't really know how to predict off of what will happen. We predict it off of what has happened. And the reason why I bring that up is that I think the show drives home the thing of this ability correlating with weather in the way that it is random. What's a better word for that? Not random, but it's unpredictable. It's only, you can only kind of track it, but outside of that it's unpredictable. So for weather reports stand to be turning people into snails, that is also just unpredictable. But what I'm seeing here is, or what I'm thinking here is that since the rainbows come from his subconscious, I and the rainbows are what turns people into snails, I'm a little skeptical on whether or not the snails are real. Um and my reasoning for that is that since it does come from his subconscious, and the idea of weather itself being unpredictable um has been laid out on the table, if we are to apply that to what's happening here, we're seeing something where humans are not able to predict what this power is going to do. They can only like perceive what they already know. Now, the reason why it's snails, I have no fucking idea. But I think the idea of his power is not that he is literally turning people into snails. I think it's more of a perception thing of people are perceiving that he's turning things into snails. But then I think the snail, well, problem is that the snails did actual damage to like the surroundings, right? So that actually, if I want to play devil's advocate with myself, yeah, the snails actually cause damage to the surroundings and stuff. So technically you could say that maybe it's not, and I think that's actually a good way to shoot down that theory. But that's why I bring in my my next point, which is that weather report has already done something close to this, which is when he made it rain frogs. My thought process here is that what he is doing is that he actually has snails spawning. Like, there are actual snails spawning, but he's also making it to where since weather can only be perceived by what has happened, the rainbows are turning people. Oh, this sounds fucking stupid. Oh, but this is JoJo, and I love it, and I love that shit just sounds so stupid. But the rainbows, because people are perceiving that that snails are spawning, the rainbows turn them into snails, or have them perceive themselves as snails, in the way that on like a global scale, right? And then there is the whole thing of the bugs, because the bugs are also attacking them. So if they are just no, because the bugs also carry life, because that's why we had the whole thing with what's her name, Foo Fighters, where Foo Fighters wasn't human, but they lived a life and all this other stuff. Don't want to get into that sad stuff again. So if we give the same respect to the bugs, these snail eaters, they probably are affected by this as well. If you remember when Silver Chariot Requiem activated, it wasn't just people that were affected. One dude got switched out with his like his dog or something, if I remember correctly. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that all natural predators are also being affected by this, and that's why they are they're hunting down the people that are turning into snails, instead of, you know, just going about their lives. because in a lot of ways you would assume that smaller animals or bugs like that would steer clear of bigger snail or bigger animals, even if it was just like a really big snail. But it's probably just literally everything and everybody is being affected by it, so they see them as a snail and they're like, well, that's a snail, I'm going to eat it now. Which is so fucking crazy. I genuinely don't know what to say. It's so fucking crazy. I man. Okay, so snails, crazy. People are turning into snails, or at least like only perceiving themselves as snails. Whether it's all in their head or not, it doesn't matter. Because what it does do is it technically does in the it actually is as dangerous as Poochie is putting it, right? Where Poochie's like, yo, he's about to end the world if you don't stop him, right? And if it was just all in everybody's head, you would think, well, it doesn't matter then. Like, we shouldn't worry because everybody will, if it's in everybody's head, it's not actually doing any harm. But it actually is. What it's doing is keeping people stagnant. And that in itself kind of ends the world, right? Is that if people and if life starts to stay stagnant on Earth, then the world itself kind of stops in a way. Which is actually probably why Poochie wants to stop it, because that. Oh yeah. No, that makes sense. Why Poochie wants to stop it, because that is a that directly ruins his plan of bringing people. Yeah, because we talked about this in the last discussion, where like if Poochie's plan is to ascend people up to heaven, then what Weather Report can do is probably more or less something that keeps people grounded on Earth, which this is exactly what it's doing. So I think we can actually continue with that train of thought, where the whole yin and yang thing, where weather forecast is basically keeping the world stagnant and not allowing them to actually ascend to heaven or live in general as just humans, which is just fucking insane. It's just so fucking insane. But what I will say is that with all this crazy shit and with like the amount of absolutely like random shit that seems to be happening, I think that's one of that's pretty much the beauty of JoJo here, where you get random, like insanely crazy shit, like people turning into snails, but it still kind of means something. And it's one of the things that I really admire JoJo's like storytelling for, is that goofy shit like this could very well still be terrifying. Just the whole thing with weather forecasts ability, where with like the rainbows, like even the rainbows feel menacing. They did a really good job with that. The sound that the rainbows make when they kind of like, they sound like they're erupting, or like they sound like a horn in a lot of ways, which they sound like angels. Follow me with this. Follow me with this. They sound like angels. I don't think this is like what the mangaka was going for, but this is just some that I thought about. Is that since the since Weather Report is technically like the yin to Poochie's yang, and he has these he has these otherworldly things that sound like trumpets and basically turn people into a completely different form if they touch it or look at. Is it touch it if they touch it, or is it if they look at it? I think they said if they touch it. Never mind. That completely throws out my train of thought, because look at it would have made more sense. Yeah, never mind. That completely throws out my train of thought. But what the fuck? What the fuck, man? Listen, bro. Fucking snails. Fucking snails. I'm trying to see. I'm grasping at straws, honestly, trying to figure out why snails. Like I said, the only thing I can think of is the angle of the weather being unpredictable and like people not being able to predict what exactly is happening with weather forecasts, like ability, and thus that turning them into snails. And it might just be like a Silver Cherry Requiem where shit is just happening because it's an ascended stand of some sort. But why snails? I can't. And okay, if we are let's go back to the whole thing of like whether the whole snail thing is real or not, right? If it comes from his subconscious, and the rainbow specifically come from his subconscious, I'm going to assume that whether it's real or not, what it's doing is not attaching it to other people's subconscious, but it's affecting other people's subconscious, right? Because with the idea of like Poochie turning things into a singularity and stuff like that, we could assume that weather forecast is kind of doing the same thing in a way, right? Where he's doing more of like the collective subconscious thing, where since the rainbows come from his subconscious, and he uses the collective subconscious of like maybe the rainbows or something like that to affect the subconscious of other people, which turns them into no. So that would mean that the snails have to be fake, right? Well, not fake. The snails have to be an illusion to some degree. The problem with that is that even if it's an illusion, we have this show is all about how the human mind can do some crazy shit, right? Like the human mind in a lot of ways is responsible for your stand. So if we have oh shit, that's why it's so scary. If you have a stand ability that affects like every human that touches it or is around it, like mind or subconscious, that's why Poochie doesn't want. Okay, I got it. I think I kind of understand, right? Is that what Poochie is trying to do is enlighten the world or universe, whatever, to a point of heaven. However, if you have somebody like weather forecast who is basically rendering those subconsciousness, those minds, those souls, basically useless as a snail, you can't do any heaven shit, because who the fuck are you taking? Snails? Like it doesn't make sense. It actually doesn't make sense. Like, it makes sense, right? Like, I'm not saying that it doesn't make sense, because it doesn't, but it technically does. It technically does. Because, yeah, if the mind is strong enough to make you think that you are a snail, that's pretty enough. That's pretty much enough, right? It's is that I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I don't know. Yeah, if the mind is strong enough to make you think that, then yeah, you're a snail at that point. But then what? How does that affect? I think I'm thinking too hard about this, actually. Now I'm thinking about it. Maybe I'm thinking too hard about this. Maybe it's just an obstacle. Like, yes, it's just crazy shit happening, people turning into snails because it's JoJo, and this is simply the obstacle. Of course, there is the whole thing of, like, you know, the mind and subconscious and stuff like that, and like the rainbows being able to turn people into snails and all this other crazy shit. But maybe it's just a roadblock. What I will say is that with all this, like, outside of all the snail shit, I'm here asking again that I need some weather report backstory, weather forecast backstory, because he is a completely different person from what I thought he would be if he got his memories back. Like, he is antagonistic to a point, and for Poochie to like, it makes sense why Poochie, like, locked him up, basically. But what happened within their brotherly dynamic that made it to where Poochie had to, like, get rid of Weather Report, which is something that I've been thinking about for the past couple of episodes now. Because if you, like, here's the thing, yes, the whole snail thing and stuff is scary, but I think I've said this before, but it seems more personal that Poochie would do all this, right? And for Poochie to be in a situation where he was like drawn to Dio, it feels like a birds of the feather kind of flock together thing, where the tragedy or trauma of, like, a family event of some sort is what brought Poochie to who he is now, which makes a lot of sense, because trauma can easily turn people into, you know, either whether it's a man of faith or just people that are handling their problems in this manner, I guess you could say. Because what it seems like is that Poochie probably had not the same type of life as Dio, because I doubt that they're gonna do the whole yes, my dad sucks and my mom died thing, right? I doubt they're gonna do that. But what it seems like is that most of this, if not all of this that Poochie is doing, comes from a place of hurt that was caused by family, right? Whether it was a fight with Weather Report, we really need to learn like his new name, like, not new name, we really need to learn his, like, actual name, because Weather Report, weather forecast is confusing now. But whether it was like a fight with Weather Report or a fight with their mom or dad or anything like that, all this seems like it was a thing of, like, Poochie not being able to deal with trauma or family trauma of from the past and turning that into a thing of like, well, if I can't be happy, then I'll make sure that everybody's happy, and then that this way I'll never have to deal with the feeling of being unhappy anymore, right? Which was kind of the same thing that Dio went through, where Dio had a shitty life, shitty family situation, and from all that he brought this whole thing of like, well, if I can't be happy, I'm gonna try my absolute damnedest to make sure that I am the happiest person on Earth, right? Which was pretty much what Dio's entire plan was. Only thing is that Dio was actually looking at it was not looking at the big picture. I think Poochie being in the same like situation, or having the same feelings as Dio from a similar situation, is probably thinking the same thing, only he's seeing it like on the macro scale of like, well, if I couldn't be happy, if all this hurt, had to happen to me, then I can resolve it. I can fix that problem by turning the world into a paradise. But what the fuck was that? Which is why I still I still say we need that weather report backstory, because dear God, I have no idea what could push somebody to being like, you know what, I'm going to destroy the world and make a completely new one, right? Well, many things can push somebody to that, but the episode in general, I guess we should actually talk about that. Just outside of the confusion of the snails and stuff, it was actually pretty cool. I like the way that they handled this situation, though it was pretty simple. They had another like kind of classic JoJo I solved the situation off screen kind of thing, which is understandable. I don't think we're supposed to think about it too hard. Like, yeah, her string was like at a snail space, so how did he touch the thing, and all this other stuff. But I'm going to assume that in a way, Jolene found a way to squeeze herself in the body to touch what's his name, Emporio, and then pass it along to Versus. How she did that, no clue, but hey, it's JoJo. I think that's one of those situations where you have to say, yeah, hey, it's JoJo, and just take it on the chin. But the fight in general is still cool because of the looming threat of the rainbows and the other snails and shit, which is crazy. Which is insane. But I think it's more like the spectacle of it all that made it really cool, which I'm completely all for. I think a lot of this last half of the season, last half of the part, is going to be mostly spectacle, which is cool, because when you're dealing with stuff like heaven and ascending and singularities and eldritch horror abilities that turn people into snails, you want to focus more on the spectacle side of stuff, which is always cool for me. But the episode, as confusing as it was a good one. I just have no fucking. I wish I was watching this show high as fuck. That's what I want. I want to watch this show high as fuck, because this would have hit like the whole snail thing already hit me hard. Like the JoJo's as a show, JoJo's ability to take such a hard turn in its show, not like a oh hey things are different now, but like a very abrupt and hard turn. Like, who could have guessed that weather reports unlocked ability is that it turns people into snails. That is the hardest turn that you could ever take in your life. So that's one of the things I like about JoJo's, is how it can just abruptly change into something so crazy that it's almost goofy. And this was definitely one of those moments. This was definitely one of those episodes, I should say. So yeah, crazy shit. I think I've pretty much talked about everything I can. Like I said, I genuinely don't have much to say, because the shock and surprise of, and everybody turned into snails, I'm still trying to process this. Don't be surprised if we have another like surprise, like, hey, the video's not over, I have something else to talk about, type of thing going on here, because I think I'm gonna have to like actually sit down and give this a good think, like genuinely sit down and actually think about this, or just watch the next episode in order to understand it, because that's the only way it's the only way I can think about understanding this shit. But this was a pretty good episode all in all. Really enjoyed the how they animated weather forecasts, whole AoE attack thing going on, passive AoE, I guess, whatever you want to call it. It was very menacing. They did do a good job of making it scary and making you actually worry about, you know, who's gonna get touched by the rainbows, like what do the rainbows do. Even though that type of stuff always like scares me, like not knowing what will happen if something touches you is like scary to me already, but they did a fantastic job making it feel just terrifying, even though turning everybody into snails is what the fuck, why. So I guess the only way to truly understand this is to watch the next episode. Unfortunately, like I said, I try to watch this 1 week at a time, so I won't be, or at least I probably won't be watching the next episode, because I have to stick to my schedule. But dear God, yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to sit down and think about this, because this is one of those moments in the show where, yeah, you got me. I have no clue what's happening. I have no. Then again, that is pretty much most of JoJo, because I have no clue what is going on here. Don't expect me to give you anything remotely coherent about this episode. So with all that being said, if you haven't already, subscribe, like, comment, all the other stuff. If you're just a lurker, I appreciate you too. If you have any requests, whether it be more Stone Ocean or something totally different, the best place to send that in is always my social media. Link's going to be in the description below. And if you want these episodes early, you can subscribe to my Patreon. Links in the description below. We also have the full-length reaction to these episodes on the Patreon. And we have the Discord if you want to join that. So with all that out the way, let me get my off button ready. There it is. You all stay amazing, stay safe, and okay, video's not over. And that's only because I've been sitting here for the past, I want to say like 10-15 minutes, just thinking, what the fuck, right? And this is something that I do usually when contemplating things like this, and it's usually when I'm watching like JoJo, but none of what's going on makes sense, really. None of this makes sense, and because it doesn't make sense, I feel like I need I felt like I needed to not make sense of how my mind was perceiving the information that I was being given on the screen, but to change my thought process completely, which is what I did for a little bit, right? I was just sitting there thinking, right? And here's what I've come up with, right? I don't think like this whole thing is crazy, right? Like the snail stuff is crazy. And this isn't like really an answer to what's going on or anything like this, but I think that what's going on here is more of the show, the anime showing us how alike Uchi and Weather Report are as brothers. And what I mean by that is it's how alike they are, but also how different they are. What I mean when I say that is, while trying to figure out what is Weather Report's stand doing, I've come to the thought that it's doing exactly what it seems like it's doing. I still stick by what I said about the snails not actually being real, or the snails, the people turning into snails only being something that is perceived. But I've gone a bit further in saying that it's not just that it is perceived. It is perceived, and because it's perceived, that's where the physical change happens. The reason why I've come to this like conclusion is because of a very simple quote that came to mind while I was thinking about this. Is I think, therefore I am. And my knowledge of like Renaissance history is trash, so don't expect me to like give you an in-depth lesson on what exactly that means and who came up with it. I know the guy's name was like Renee something, but the quote, the saying I think therefore I am, holds a lot of power. As far as my limited knowledge of the Renaissance goes, I know that quote was made from the idea of existing, and because you exist because you think, right? And why I brought this up is that I think that these philosophies are very one and the same when it comes to the Pucci brothers, right? You have Weather Report, who is the I think therefore I am, right? His subconscious creates the rainbows that are basically spreading that philosophical ideology of I think therefore I am, right? It's spreading it to other people, which is making them think that they are snails, which is just some random shit. Is making them think that they are snails. Therefore, they physically turn into snails because, as I said in like, I guess you can call it part 1 of the discussion, is that because they think they are snails, they turn into snails because the mind, like, here, if you think, I'm trying to explain this like as best as I can, right? If you know what a placebo effect is, then you'll understand where I'm going with this. But if you don't know what a placebo effect is, I'll explain it for you so it's a little bit easier to understand. Placebo effect is where in simple terms, say you give somebody a pill, tell them that it makes you dizzy, and you give them the pill, and they come back to you and they say, yeah, I feel really dizzy, and after that you tell them, well, that was just a regular water pill. It's not supposed to make you feel anything. The idea is that because that person thought that the pill was supposed to make them dizzy, they became dizzy. And this is something that has happened multiple times, I mean, like countless times throughout humanity, is that the brain is so strong that it can literally physically change the body. It can physically make the body feel something. So turning into a snail, at least in this show, is not out of the realm of possibility. Now, why am I bringing all this up? The whole "I think therefore I am" thing, right? If that idea is based on existence, and because I think in general, or because I think I exist, right? That is a very earthly philosophy to have, because it's what ties you to the world, right? Now, if we take the other half, or the yin to weather forecast yang, you have Father Pucci, who is not "I think therefore I am," but he's a new version of that philosophy. He is an enhanced version of that philosophy, because if you think about what Father Pucci is doing, he is taking something that is understood, which is like souls and or the human body and like the mind and stuff, and he's transcending it into like souls and heaven and all this other stuff. So it's not "I think therefore I am" for Pucci, but it is "I want therefore I become." So what we're dealing with here, and why we have the snails and all this other random shit, is not just because it's random, it's bizarre, it's JoJo, right? But what we're seeing is a reinstillment of Pucci and Pucci being brothers, right? And having this gravitation, or his gravitational pull, and this extremely strong fate that is so strong that it basically overrides other fates and chains them down to earth, where this, Pucci being having this gravitational pull is pulling people to transcendence. So we have "I think therefore I am," and we have "I want therefore I become." In a lot of ways, the similarities between their philosophies and their stands, which their philosophies are most likely that's a whole another can of worms. But philosophies can be something of a reflection of somebody's soul, and stands being that embodiment of somebody's soul. If "I think therefore I am" is his philosophy, and is at least his subconscious philosophy, and his brother has a modified version of that philosophy, which is "I want therefore I become," it makes a lot of sense for both of these, for these two people to be that yin and that yang. That's why Pucci is so against Weather Report having the full scope of his power, because if you have that yang or that yin or whatever you feel like Weather Report represents, and you have everybody only only subscribing to the philosophy of I think therefore I am instead of I want therefore I become, nobody transcends, or at least they don't transcend fast enough. So what we're seeing here is the show, or the anime, showing us just how alike but different these two characters are, and it goes down to their very stand. Both their stands have a base power that is extremely useful, but they also have like this this other power, kind of like Killer Queen's like secondary bomb. They also have this other power that relies very heavily on the like subconscious and the you know, the thought of the human mind and stuff like that. So a bunch of parallels are being made here for Poochie and Weather Report, and showing the viewer exactly why Weather Report is so dangerous, because his philosophy, his fate, is something that could easily override the philosophy, spirit, and fate of Poochie. Once again, you have the I think therefore I am, and you have the I want therefore I become. And these two fates are these two you know, halves of philosophy are what creates the world. It's what keeps people going, is that yes, people will think therefore they are, but because they think and are, they have the potential to want and become. It's not it when you really break it down to those two very base philosophies, you get I don't want to sound pretentious, but you get the answer to living, right? Is that you exist because you think that you exist, and you can become more because you exist, and therefore since you exist, you have the ability to want, and since you want, you can become more and then transcend. Now when you have both of these philosophies together, it does create you know, human life, that it creates humanity for, you know, for the world, right? But if you take both of these apart and you only use one or the other, you get ruined, as we see in this episode, where if all you have is I think therefore I am, you're quite literally stuck at that point. You're stuck right there, is that you think and then you are, but too much of that is a bad thing. Same way with if you want therefore you become, if that's all you have and you have the extreme of that, then you get what Poochie is doing, which is also not helpful at all, basically. So yeah, I think what this episode is truly about, right, is not just the bizarreness of SNAILS and stuff like that, and like how Weather Report has like, oh, this new fucking power, and oh, it's so crazy, and this is just an obstacle. Like I said, no, it seems like this is more of us setting up the core philosophies of both these halves of how the world exists, which is crazy, because it's crazy, but it's understandable with the type of story that JoJo has been trying to tell. And they've been doing a great job of telling it just very subtly. And this is one of those moments where they're telling their story, but very subtly. That is some crazy shit. That's some crazy shit. That's insane. That is a really good, like, now granted that it could be something totally different. The story could be trying to say something totally different, but at least that's what I got from it, right? And with that being what I got from it, is that is some really interesting stuff that, like, I could probably talk about for hours, but I do not want this video to be a 3-hour long philosophical rant about the human mind and how far can somebody transcend, or like is it okay for people to, like, yes, this could, as soon as I that like thought came to my mind, I was like, ooh shit, I have like 4 hours worth of things to say, or at least 4 hours worth of bullshit to say, but nobody wants a multi-hour video. So, yeah, no, but that does like heighten the how much interest I have in what's happening now, though, because this is some genuinely crazy shit now. But if you think about it in that way, if you think about what's going on in that way, shit just becomes even more interesting than it already is. So, in like, I'm glad that I continue, like, I actually sat down, like I said in the first part of the discussion, I was gonna have to sit down and like genuinely think about this, and I'm glad that I did, because as soon as that popped into my head, I was like, oh my god, it's making sense now. So really cool stuff happening here. I really enjoyed this episode, or at least that made me appreciate this episode even more. If I had, even though already I was loving what was going on, even though it was like confusing, I just really appreciate what's happening more now. So fantastic stuff. That is, if that's what the mangaka is going for, that is some next level, like, crazy shit that he is writing. I know I said this in the last episode, or in the last episode's discussion, but dear God, if that's the type of stuff that we are like going for in just the end of part 6, part 7, 8, and 9 have to be insane. They have to be fucking sane. So really good shit. Really smart way of setting up the brothers, and kind of showing your viewer why these two are so important. But not only that, not just why these two are so important, but why these two are so connected, and why the other half does not want to be connected to the other at all, because yeah, you don't want the perfect balance. You want the perfect ecstasy. You want the perfect bliss. That's what Pucci's trying to achieve. And maybe bliss isn't the right word, because like bliss is kind of like synonymous with like ignorance. So maybe not bliss, but heaven. But we'll just continue to call it heaven. Really great stuff. Really interesting. So now I can actually, now that I've sufficiently ranted, after getting what I assume is all of my thoughts out, and if I come back and be like, yeah, video's not over again, I'm sorry, but from what I can assume, that's pretty much all the thoughts in my head right now, and I'm glad I actually got that out, because man, that made me appreciate this shit way more. So with all that being said, if you haven't already, subscribe, like, comment, all the other stuff. If you're just a lurker, I appreciate you too. If you have any requests, whether it be more JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, something totally different. The best place in that in is always my social media. Link's going to be in the description below. And if you want these episodes early, subscribe to my Patreon. Link's going to be in the description for that as well. So with all that being said, let me get my off button ready. There it is. You all stay amazing, stay safe, and take care of yourselves.